Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Blokes Broadcast Podcast. My name is Steve and I'm here with my co host Dan. Dan, how's things?
All good, you?
Yeah, Dan, good. Yeah, just had to come back from holidays this week as such, but back to work on Monday. And yeah, it was great to get away and recharge. And I think we spoke before I went about just switching off completely, and I didn't have access to work phone, work email, or anything like that. It was actually really good because I actually came back recharged and re-energized and focused, which is really good because I probably lost that a little bit in a sense of um, letting silly mistakes creep into work because I've been just doing so much and stuff like that. But no, all good yourself.
Yeah, yeah, everything's been good. The last few weeks since we last spoke, had a few football tournaments. I think I picked up heat stroke because I was ill. When uh, maybe it wasn't a heat stroke because I mean I might be being a hypochondriac, but I wasn't very well afterwards. But yeah, so a couple of football tournaments.
Was that after
Unfortunately,
watching England play football, or you?
No, I was coaching. I got to the point I wasn't coaching England. That would be amazing. I was coaching my boys, and basically we might as well have not turned up. It was that bad. I feel for the boys, and it got to the point where to the last game I said, right, it's five-a-side, so it's like three at the back and one up front. And someone said, why are you doing that? You need to score goals. And I said, but we also need to stop conceding goals. Um, yeah, it was bad to the point one of the boys cried afterwards and basically went, okay, I don't want to do this again. Um, that says a lot, bless him. Um, but yeah, I also unfortunately lost one of my best mates last week to cancer.
I saw that.
Which
I saw that. My
yeah,
condolences.
oh, no, thank you. It's been really hard and tough because I've kind of kicked myself, and I've had a lot of guilt. But and the reason being is I've always thought, oh, there's tomorrow. I can contact him tomorrow, and um, I mean, everyone says, oh, there's always tomorrow. Well, I've kind of changed my mantra a little bit. There isn't always tomorrow. You know, you've got to what's the word? Seize a day or something, take every opportunity. So make the most
Grab,
of that day.
grab
Um,
life and just live it. And
yes, yeah. So that's been a tough week there. I'm now fully qualified mental health first aider, seaman.
oh,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, really good. I got my qualification yesterday, so I'm really happy about that. Um, yeah, and just working. Last week before the kids break up from school for the summer. God, I'm not ahead here. Um, but yeah, no, all good, all good.
Very good. No, it is great to be back. It is great to be back. So, um, yeah. So while I was on holidays, I actually sent you a link. There um was sad to hear about um Caroline Flack's brother who lost his life to suicide, and it's a bit ironic because Caroline Flack obviously lost her life the same way, which is a bit tragic, and it's always difficult when it's in a family setting because you'll have to have sympathy for obviously the family, and it's terrible, and it doesn't. I suppose it goes back to just because you're a celebrity and you lose your life, and it's been put all over the social media and all over the internet, and people will pass condolence and stuff like that. And but I suppose her brother was not well known as her, um,
Mm.
and yeah, it is tragic because it hits home, and it's just I've seen so much stuff of late where um yeah, people just losing their lives to suicide, and I suppose it's we actively talk about it on the podcast, and I I have suicide awareness Ireland, and I do it on that as well, and it's people do great work around mental health and talk about suicide and stuff like that, and it's like anything, it's like a car accident. There's plenty of adverts out there and to reduce speed and stuff like that, but it just keeps happening and happening. And sometimes you feel like you're losing the battle, but you can it is actually good because you can see the work that is being done in the background by organisations like Mental Health Ireland. Um, they released their 2027 strategy around mental health and stuff like that. I'm still working right through, so I'll bring you an update on it next week and talk about it further. But it's just, yeah, it's like everything. And we spoke about do we listen to the news and stuff like that. But it's when you're so involved in something like that, it's just so prevalent that uh, you come across it constantly on a daily basis. Um, and it's just, yeah, it's sad. It's sad to hear. It really is, and my condolences to the family because it's not easy to lost a son and a daughter now to suicide, which is tragic. But I will. I suppose there is some good news around that. Um, we've talked about Jackie Fox in this podcast many times. I'm a huge fan of Jackie. I don't know. I just saw on online there, Dan. She's actually brought out a movie
Oh,
around her
okay.
daughter, around her daughters. Now I haven't seen it. It was in the Galway Film Festival, which is brilliant. And she has just got the backing from Europe to bring Coco's Law to Europe as well, which is fantastic. Which is fantastic.
Oh, it's
What
really
this
good.
what this woman has done um, for mental health and the tragedy that she's been through and the family's been through, and what she continues to do for mental health is extraordinary. Now, I know she's still back and forth to Europe and talking about Coco's Law and stuff like that. But the amount of prosecutions in Ireland around
Mm.
Coco's Law has been extraordinary. And again, I just have to commend her because from from such tragic circumstances to where she is now and what she's done is just commendable. It really is. And
No, that is really good.
I might say, I know I asked her, and I know she's really, really busy. I will definitely try
Mm.
and get her on this podcast because what she's done is outstanding. It really is.
Yeah. Do you know one of the you're talking about um Caroline Flack um and her brother both committing both losing their life to suicide. Got shouldn't really say committing suicide because they're not, you know, not committing a crime. They've lost their life by suicide. Um, it, I just one of the facts that, or one of the statistics I found out in my course um, over the last couple of days for in the UK post COVID, the amount of deaths that relate by suicide for males in the UK was 3,682 compared to the amount of deaths by road accidents, so approximately 1,124 fatalities. So that speaks volumes. It's big. Um,
It's the same here. Suicides outrage road deaths here in Ireland as well.
yeah,
And something interesting I came across there the other day, listened to a podcast. I can't remember which podcast it was, but did you know? It was you could be you obviously you could have been prosecuted up to 1995 if you attempted suicide in Ireland.
Really?
Up to
Nine that
1995. Yes.
oh
Yeah.
I mean I
Yeah.
because I think it was in the 60s over here. Um and that that's kind of not laughable, that's the wrong word, but how can you how can someone say it's you know, to be prosecuted to take your own life, that's basically saying, you know, mental it's kind of saying mental health isn't an issue, um, in my thinking of things. And I didn't know I didn't know that it was that recently in Ireland. I thought we were the ones. I just think it's crazy. How can you make it illegal? You know, yes, we
Sorry,
don't
my
want it to
apology.
happen.
I need to come back on that. It was 1993.
Okay, so
So
10 years, but still,
from 1871 up to 1993, an act aiding, abetting, counselling, or procuring the suicide of another person remains a criminal act carrying a maximum penalty of up to 14 years in prison up to 1993.
no, it's madness. Um, yeah, I just think how can you how can you like say to someone like, "Oh, it's illegal," like that's basically not even addressing the issue. It's basically, you know, they're not even looking. To me, they're looking past the problem. They're not even looking to see, well, why are they feeling like this? Why do they want to end their life? It's do, do, do you see what I'm
No,
saying there?
completely understandable. Like if you think a 13-year-old today to where a 13-year-old in 1993, which I was, um, like I would never have heard the word suicide. I'd never heard
Mm.
the word mental health. I would never
Yeah,
heard of talking.
yeah,
It's a bit ironic that it was still within the start of the 90s, or what? Yeah, into the 90s that people were still being prosecuted over something that they basically had no control of.
yeah,
I suppose in hindsight, it it does bring to the forefront that the amount of work that has been done since 1993 up to 2026, I suppose, and
mm,
there's still a lot of work to do. But like I when I heard that, I was going, no, that can't be true because
no,
like it's the 90s. I thought like the 60s, the 70s, the 50s, but like
yeah,
or even the 80s. And then you're heading into the 90s, and you could have been prosecuted. Now, obviously, if you took your own life, obviously you couldn't be prosecuted. Um,
mm,
but also, sorry, another you have to I have to fact check this when I get a chance. I should have done before. Um, you I need to make sure this is correct before I say it. I I believe in the past, and it could be wrong, but if you commit suicide, you could not be buried to it in the Catholic Church.
I think you're right there. I think got a feeling you cor- you're correct there, but yeah, obviously you need to double check that. I've heard that before. Um, yeah, I know. Like the thing is, like going like going off suicide for a moment with regard like going back to the 90s and obviously, you know, there's still a stigma today, isn't there? Let's be honest. But back in the 90s, my dad suffered with depression and it was bad. You know, there were times um, that he would be laying in bed uh, for a week. Um, and he went off in the car one night. Um, he just drove off, and he did obviously. Fortunately, he came back. Uh, One of the questions was by the doctors, "Did you take a hose pipe with you?" And it's like, oh, you know, and it was like, well, why on earth would he do that? Of course, like that's from my mother. Um, but it was what I think what I'm trying to get to that, and it's only since over the last couple of days, listening to people who have tried to end their life and they're now recovering, they're not, they're recovering. Yeah. So, and they said that they used to look forward. They would be looking forward to death. They wanted, they just thought they're better off, like keep their family better off without them. And they go to bed wishing that they would die, and then to wake up in the morning and they'd still be alive, and that would be the whole cycle starting again. And I've not really thought of it like that before. Um, it must be really difficult because not only are you obviously feeling shit about yourself and everything's, your whole world's fallen apart, and then to wake up the next morning and then think, I'm alive, I've got to go through this all again. That's, even more weight on your shoulders. Um, and like thinking back to it with my dad, and I'm not saying he was suicidal, um, but it was so kind of a throwaway comment. Did you take a hose pipe with you?
Hose
It wasn't, chuck some tablets and you'll be fine. Um, but
But like
yeah,
it's what you said there. Like it's. I used to when I was really bad, and I used to be like that. I used to go to bed and I would pray to not necessarily to do anything beforehand, but it would necessarily go to bed, fall asleep, going, I don't want to be here. I don't want to wake up tomorrow. And then you'd wake up in the morning and go, here we go again. And it
yeah,
used to go on. It was just a vicious cycle. And um, it used to be, I used to think of ways I could do it. Medication, fine. But no, me, I probably couldn't even do that right. I probably wouldn't take enough to do it. Um, but there's also been times where I've been just driving and I go, hmm, could I hit that tree or could I hit that pole? Um, and it's actually a really frightening experience. And it's
yeah,
about, I sent you a text beforehand about what we are going to talk about. And I put out a video there last year on TikTok. And I was about taking an overdose about how I'm banging on about talking and opening up and stuff like that. And I was just going through a really shit period. And I
yeah,
kept everything to myself and I spoke to friends and stuff like that. But I suppose what hit home for me was um, I told my partner what was going on. I hadn't I
mhm,
hadn't I hadn't mentioned anything to my partner. But then I said it to her. But the look of horror on her face just said it to me, going, I suppose, and it's not before sort of anyone hears the podcast or um jumps on board with giving it what I'm about to say. I felt I was really selfish, and people often say people that take their lives or lose their lives to suicide are selfish. They do not
no,
know what's going on in their head. It's
no,
their
they're
last
ill.
resort. They're real.
Yeah,
But I felt guilty. I felt Jesus. Like I looked at her face and went, "What did I do?" And I hadn't talked to anyone, Dan. I hadn't even talked to you. Like it was only I put a
yeah,
phone call into again. We had Dwayne on the podcast, and he said, "Well, Steve, Steve, you need to talk to somebody." And it
Was
was
this the
just
time when you worked with Sky,
no,
as
no,
in satellite
no,
TV? No?
no. This is as recent as 2025.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when I was working in a hotel, I left the job to move closer to home. Um, and I say on
Oh,
TikTok, it's out there. And I basically said I sat there on the edge of the bed and I looked at my pills, going, I want to take the lot. And I just sat there and just went, I'll just take not the medication I'm on is for anxiety and it helps me sleep and stuff like that. I go, I'll just take one extra just to take the edge off. Maybe that's what I need. But sure, I wasn't exercising, I wasn't talking to anybody. The job I was in, and I was almost afraid to talk about it because start talk about the job because I I went for the interview and on paper I went, yeah, actually it would be good to be close to home and 20 minutes to work and not driving the length and breadth of the country and stuff like that. And I just went, no, I just can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. And it was after talking to my partner, she goes, if it's not worth a job, it's not worth anything.
no.
So lucky enough, I sorted it all out and I left the job and went and the job I'm currently in. So, well, yeah, that was, and sorry, the response I got online, go, people, I hope you're okay. But it was 2025, um, this time last year. And it's just, we're always, I suppose, the point, to the whole thing is that mentally I'm very strong and it just takes something to give you a wobble. And I always call
Mm,
something like that a wobble. It's probably the wrong phrase, but it's, I suppose suicide is not the answer. It never is. For me, it never will be. I never ever do it. Will it cross my head again? Probably will. It probably will.
mm,
But at the end of the day, you need to, like, no job, no relationship, no. It's just not worth it because uh, it's the impact that you leave behind.
mm,
That's what it does. The impact of leaving your family, your children, your friends. A job is a job. But you can change that whenever you want. And people go, well, I don't know what to do. But like, you can change that job, and that's what I did. And I'm like in the space of, I'd say, with because there was a there was a few things leading up to that actually because I was driving a van literally all over the country. I was coming home exhausted. There was some mornings I was going to Dublin. I couldn't even tell you how I got there. And I'm driving on a national highway up and down, and I couldn't even tell you how I got there. And it ended up leading me to be 6 weeks off sick with my depression. And then I
yeah.
went and started a new job. And then that job wasn't right for me. I'm not an office person. I don't know how you sit in an office Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever it is. I work on the road. I'm happy being out and about. That's what I do. But I
I
just
think
want to
it's,
stipulate that suicide is
yeah,
not the end.
no. I think with the job front, I think it all depends on, obviously, you and I worked at Norwich Airport together, and I always thought, "Oh, I can't do a 9 to 5, I can't sit behind a desk." It's taken me, it's taken me until now, Stephen, until last year to find me a job. I mean, obviously, I've been in jobs, but it's taken me a job to find now that I really, really enjoy. Yes, it's in an office, but I'm not sat back on my ass. You know, 7 hours, 8 hours a day. I am
Yeah,
moving around, so I'm lucky like that. But I understand what you mean there because I think, you know, when you're feeling, when you're feeling like when you're suffering and you have those, you know, you have those suicidal tendencies, or you are suffering with depression. I understand that, you know, having a job, sitting there at a desk looking at a screen all the time, um, isn't going to potentially be good for you. You need to have the variety, and I think with you knowing who you are, yeah, I agree. A desk job's not for you. Um, and you know, I think the thing with you as well, Stephen, if you will give anything a go, you're very much like me in that respect. Um, you know,
well, that's it. Like, I will, sorry, I will give anything go, and that's I've had. If if I had to sit here, if I had to sit here and go through the list of my jobs, I think we'd be here till next year, and that's been honest. Um, but I have I have always worked, which is great. Um, um, I've always worked, and look, I just wanted to share. I shared the video I was talking about there, which, but it's like, I think, like you, we're people. We are people persons. I will I will sell sand to the Arabs if I could. Um, but it's it's ironic because it's, yeah, you need to find something that makes you happy. It doesn't it the salary doesn't, um the salary's great, but if the job is not right, it's not you're no good to anybody, because
no,
over time it just chips away at you and eats away at you, and then it just festers. And no
mm,
matter how you try, or you go into work and go, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to give it a go. Um, but I think for the fact for me was that there was no support in the job that I was in. Um, you're micromanaged, as in you had to literally clock in when you arrived with face recognition. You clocked out with face recognition at lunchtime, and you clocked back in again, and then you have to do it when obviously you clock off in the evening, and that's just not me. Like,
mm,
I'm I do my job quite well now, and I'm not micromanaged, and it's just I can't be micromanaged. So, but anyway, it was just to share that no matter what's going on, there's always help and support out there and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I suppose on a bit of a lighter note, how are England doing the World Cup? Dan?
Huh?
How are England doing in
Oh,
the World Cup?
you know, obviously we play Mexico on Monday morning, and I stayed up to watch it, and then when it came on, they said it delayed for an hour, at 2 o'clock kickoff. Um, my daughter, my 13-year-old, she came downstairs to watch it. It was really not best game I've seen, best game of football I've seen. I mean, I might, that's my, you know, my opinion. Um, yeah, I
No,
was really,
I have to say, from the outside looking in, and obviously I'm not a huge supporter of the England national team, but but it's, again, it goes back to, like, we were sitting in the bar over in Crete watching it, and you were playing Cameroon. No, it wasn't Cameroon, Morocco, was it?
no, Congo, DR Congo.
Oh, sorry, yeah. And they scored, and I went, yes. And obviously, nobody else
Oh,
did.
thanks, Sam. Yeah,
You're welcome.
God,
Nobody else
yeah,
did. But then, in
yeah.
fairness, you came back and won. But you are. It's funny what it's actually. This World Cup is turning out to be a bit of a strange one, because look at um the Argentinian game the other night
Oh no, that's correct.
against Egypt.
Hmm. Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Well, yeah, that was corrupt. Egypt should have won that. They should have. Um, uh, um, yeah. I I think they want to do it so Argentina win, and they'll be the first team to win back to back World Cups in quite a while.
yeah. Well,
Um,
in fairness, that whole thing around the United States and the player with Trump, my
mm,
God.
yeah,
And they allowed him to
yeah,
play. And I'm glad they lost 4-0.
yeah. No, I am. But the thing is, it's double standards because we've had our player. Um, he's not allowed to play. He got a red card. I can't pronounce his name. Um, but he got a red card. Obviously, we went down to 10 men in the Mexico game. We still won. You know, He got a red card. He's banned for the next 2 matches. So he's banned for this one. Obviously, if we get through, he's banned for that one, and he can only play if we get through to the final. So that's like this could potentially, but the game that he played could potentially have been his last game, and they won't overturn it. So you know, it's really corrupt. It's really corrupt. But
Well, I've no fear. I've no fear you'll get to the final, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
thanks. Just remember where you used to live and work, and where your son lives.
Yeah, true. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh. Do
Oh,
you know
just
though,
fine.
Stephen? I would support, and I have told you this in 1994. I supported the Republic of Ireland.
No, I
I
know you
did.
did. I know you did. But actually, it was
Yeah.
funny because you swear Ireland were actually in the World Cup because do you remember I said about the defender? He plays for Shelbourne or St.
Mhm.
Pat's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that one out. I can't remember who he plays for. Anyway, he played for Cape Verde, and you swear
Yeah.
Ireland were in the World Cup. Like from where he's from, the place closed down, and they were doing match parties and everything for him. But
um,
no, it's either for me. Who's your prediction for the World Cup?
France.
You say France? I'm
I
shocked.
don't want them to. I don't want them to. Obviously, I want England to. I think France are going to win it.
Mm, yeah, I was hoping Brazil, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
No, Brazil. Brazil are going through a funny moment. They're going through that cycle, aren't they? So they've got the new generation of players coming through. So they are good, and they will be good. But they're at that point. It's a bit like the England women's team at the moment. We're now going through that cycle with the women's team. So like, we're getting new players come through. So we're not as good as we were. And that goes for all teams, doesn't it? That goes for, every single team. So there will be Germany, Germany as well. You know, they went out um of the
That was
cup.
a shock. That was
Mm,
shock.
yeah. Um, but yeah. Um, I think it'll be France. And then I'm glad Portugal are out. So I don't like Ronaldo. Because the team is built around Ronaldo. It's not Portugal, it's the Ronaldo team. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
is. It is. And to be honest, that it's been ridiculous the way um the whole thing around Ronaldo. But no, but it's yeah. We'll see. We'll see. There's the Belgium are playing Spain at the moment. It's 2-1.
is it 2-1?
So
What,
it's
to
two
Spain?
one. Yeah, yeah. But I
Oh,
know we'll see what happens. But no, it's been nice. Again, we've made this promise to ourselves before. Wednesday doesn't seem to work for us, so we'll get a day that actually works for us. We will we'll get back to recording on a regular basis. So but it's been nice to catch up after holidays and stuff. Are you heading away, Dan?
well, if we go anywhere, because obviously we've got um, our my little
Grandchild.
granddaughter. So there's 4 kids now in the house. Um, obviously our car's not big enough. So if we go away anywhere, I mean, it'll probably be down to Brighton to see my sister-in-law. Um, and we'll probably go by train or something. But yeah, that's where we'll go. We're not planning on going abroad this year. Um, I'd love to, but Brighton. Have you ever been to Brighton?
No, it's actually a place I'd like to go.
It is so nice. Honestly, you go down there, it's like you're abroad. It is really nice. It's one of my. It's two places on the coast I like, and that is Southwold in Suffolk and Brighton.
I
Um,
do you know what? I actually love Southwold as well. It's one of my
mm,
favorite spots to
uh,
go and visit.
yeah, yeah, no, I love South Wales. It is one of my favourite places to go. But yeah, so that's what we'll probably do is at some point go and take a visit and see the rest of the family. But other than that, I've not. I've used all my. I haven't used all. I've not used my annual leave wisely, so I've not really got a consistent week off during the summer holidays. So I've had to take days here, there, and make long weekends and stuff. So um, I've had to be creative. So we will do something, but um, it will be in this country.
Very good. And I suppose on the next podcast, actually, I will bring you the full report on the Mental Health Ireland framework that's starting to bring out, which is quite good. And we'll have a chat about that on the next podcast. And we're still working on getting our guests. It's just with holidays and stuff like that. It's just we we just couldn't make definitive plans, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And actually, on a final note, are you going to stay up tomorrow night and watch Conor McGregor fight?
Watch what? No, I'm watching the England game. What
Oh,
are you
what
on
time's that on
about?
tomorrow night?
I thought at 10 o'clock, but it could be delayed.
I know
So
Conor McGregor's fighting at the early hours in the morning, I think.
doesn't. I
Let's hope he gets a hiding.
think the last boxing match I watched was Frank Greenham. Oh,
Uh,
do you know? Actually, talking of fighting, I
sorry, I'm going to correct you there. It's not a boxing match. It's UFC.
oh, okay. See, I'm used to it. Anyway, talking of boxing, while I was down in Brighton at my sister-in-law's, who drives down the road of my sister-in-law? Chris Eubank. And he
Well,
gets out and has a photo with my son and daughter. That,
and they were
yeah.
probably going, who the hell is that?
Yes. Well,
Daddy, the some random guy trying to take a photograph of us.
yeah.
That
Um,
one, we put that out there.
uh,
But
oh, yeah.
no, listen, thank you to everyone for listening to this week's podcast, and we'll get it out soon enough. But we're back to normal, and we'll have a proper schedule from next week.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We will indeed. Thank you. Yeah, all good. See you all next week, guys.